Uh, Hello, just getting started. We'll officially start at 9 p.m. Eastern. I see one person already joined. Thank you for joining. This is the first time I'm doing a YouTube live, so I'm just getting used to all the controls. Hello, everyone. We're just getting started. I just set up this YouTube live, and I usually do this on Zoom. So I'm just trying to figure out how it's going to differ technically, and we'll start in a second. As soon as everybody joins, I'll give it a couple of minutes. Hello, thank you for joining. If you can, let me know if you learned about this call from Udemy or from YouTube. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll get started in a minute or two, just kind of waiting for everybody. I usually do these calls on Zoom, and on Zoom, people can chat. Here is just with voice chat. Here is just text chat. And on Zoom, I kind of know people join from Udemy because that's the only people who learn about it. But on YouTube, I think people from YouTube can join. But the format is basically anyone asks questions, whatever question you have, I'll answer. I can also talk about stuff that I'm doing. We're going to mostly talk about entrepreneurship, digital marketing, maybe a little bit of AI. So that's what we're going to talk about. Um, I don't see who's on the call when I am on Zoom. I see everybody on the call. I see their names. Here, I see there are some people on the call, but I don't know who it is because I don't see the names. So if you can chat, I'll read the chat and I'll make sure I'll get to you. I can't even welcome you because it doesn't tell me the names of the people in the chat until you leave a comment. So if you want to leave a comment, say hello. I'll read the live chat. I'll say hello. I'll start it. Oh, I actually see it. Susan, thanks. There. Susan is from Udemy. Very good. Thank you for joining, and everybody who's joining. Let's join the text chat because if you've joined me before on Zoom, we used it was more personable. Here's just text chat, but I have the chat open. I'll read all the questions. Um, if anybody wants to get started, we can, or I can chat about stuff I'm working on, which is I think interesting to me at least. What class are you taking, Susan? While we're waiting for people to join and while we're waiting for the chat to get going, I can kind of talk about what I'm working on that's interesting for me. Oh, Susan, customer service class. Yeah, that's a cool class. It's one of my more popular courses. If you have any comments about it, or if you have any questions, or if you want to tell us what kind of a customer service position or scenarios you're working on, we can talk about that. While I'm waiting, yeah, I was going to share the stuff that I'm working on. I'm about to release, I'm a couple of days away, maybe one day away from releasing a cool course about how to create your own any software, website, or app with AI. There's a bunch of services. Maybe anybody has used Replit, or I think it's called Base 44, or there's another one. So I'm in the middle of creating my own website with AI, and then I'm gonna as a next step, create my own agents with AI. And agents are basically, instead of a Q&A, like you ask ChatGPT, like, hey, what is this? What is that? What do you think of that? An agent is somebody you just send them to work. So like I can have a marketing agent that's all software that you can get it to go work and do any task, like do outreach or write blog posts, but it continuously works. So that's the kind of thing that I'm working on and releasing a course on this. It's a very interesting to explore. I almost feel like I'm late to the game on this, although I'm early because few people are doing this. But at the same time, um, I wouldn't think of creating a website or an app without using AI first. So, very cool topic. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I'm also working on, like, still in the planning phases of creating my own cryptocurrency token. We can talk about that. I'm kind of really curious about this. I'm still planning it out. I can show um, I'm building, like, actually I'm building a website with AI for that token. We can talk about it. It's kind of a cool project. But yeah, Susan, if you want to chat about anything, feel welcome. Or I can keep chatting about the stuff that I'm working on. I'll chat about the stuff that I'm working on. Essentially, I'm using Replit. I don't know if anybody on the call has used Replit before. Um, I was told base 44 is kind of does, which does something sort of similar, is a little better. But with Replit, I just built my own website, and it's completely without any coding or hiring a developer, which is so much cheaper, because hiring a developer, a couple of $100, you have to wait for them. Maybe it takes a week or two, but with AI based tool, you can create your website like I did it in a couple of hours, and everything is beautiful. I can show my test environment. Let me, like, I haven't launched it, but I can post a link to my test environment, and it's just the homepage is kind of ready, so I can post that. If anybody wants to take a look, I'll post it in the chat. Um, it's just a test environment for now, but it's kind of cool. I was able to tell AI, like, hey, this section I don't like, change it. It changed it. Another section I like it, I don't like it. It changed it. So it's pretty easy to work with, and yeah. So I'm gonna probably launch this website maybe tomorrow, and then after that, I might build my own, like, AI agent, which is, like, really the coolest thing I think for the moment. The hottest thing in AI, which is to create your own agent to work for you. Um, so that's what I'm doing tomorrow and this week, and then I'm gonna probably release one or two courses on this. Um, not sure, maybe. Um, let me read your question quickly. Susan asked, "What is the next course to take after customer service if I want to widen my customer service knowledge?" I think for customer service knowledge, um, I do have another course, a smaller course on customer service with AI. Um, but it's just kind of for beginners using AI, just to speed up your work. Um, I can post the link to that course here. If you have a business account, you might have free access to it already, but let me get you that link just in case. Um, just quickly. It's a shorter course, and it's really good if you don't have a lot of experience with artificial intelligence. It's a good one for that. Um, I'm planning to expand that course, but so far I haven't. There's also a lot of content that I have on empathy, but I think because in customer service you need a lot of this, but I think the course that you are already taking covers that pretty well. Um, what aspects of your customer service career are you trying to improve? Once I know that, it will kind of help me to give you a better, more personalized answer. I think one thing that I added to that customer service with AI course, I just did it like last week, is kind of cool about how to make your workflow more productive. And it's really for anybody in meetings, because I showed an example of how you can use software, basic software to transcribe your meetings. And then once your meetings are transcribed, you can use AI to summarize the meeting notes, send out all the follow-ups to everybody, all with AI. And then if you have a client meetings, or in case of customer service, you need to get back to your clients, you can automate that and all do it all with AI, like script all the emails based on the transcript and the meeting notes. So it's like all way faster instead of, doing this clunky process of writing it all out, taking notes, rereading, forgetting stuff. The whole workflow can be just with AI. So I added that to the course. That's kind of exciting because it's like next level a little bit, because most people think like, it's just for one of the processes within the workflow, but you can automate the entire workflow with AI, which is kind of a little bit of a next level. Let me quickly read your comment. How to navigate the working sector? Um, are you trying to, you know, I'm not sure about that because that I think maybe because now this industry is changing a lot, right? The customer service industry, before it was just customer service. Now maybe half or 70 or 30, like a big chunk of the workforce is getting replaced with AI. So I think today probably you want to be on top of how to use artificial intelligence for like every industry, actually. Like even what I'm doing here is getting changed by AI, because I might as well be an AI bot. I would have been better if I was an AI bot. I wouldn't stutter. I would take less time to think, unless my software froze. But generally speaking, every industry professionally is getting shaken up by AI, and you don't want to be the person who's like the last one to change. So you really want to adapt. And I think that if you're looking at issues are like workforce related questions, um, you really want to be on top of AI, because this is the most pertinent thing. It's the same for me. Like, it's not like the most fun thing to explore and learn, but I just know like if I am not on top of it, I'm going to become like kind of outdated in my field. And all the industries are kind of feeling like the tidal wave of AI taking over. There's so many use cases that are just changing, and so many jobs are just getting obsolete. And the people who are getting most obsolete are the ones who like they don't know AI beyond the surface level. But some people who know AI can kind of roll with the punches a little bit, because they can be the ones who, instead of getting let go at a job or having a hard time finding a job, they can use AI to become better at the job and impress the managers and actually help be a part of the solution to optimize the workforce without totally getting rid of the workforce, because you still need some humans, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's what I would recommend. I think also communication skills are like super important. Depending on you, if you need for your job written or in person, interpersonal, spoken. But obviously, if it's written, you need to learn grammar. So like grammar and writing will be really helpful. Also, if you speak to clients, I recently released a course. Let me see, about how to remove parasite words from your speech and just make your speech more clear. It's not always easy, but at least you can take some first steps to speak more eloquently, because that's a big part of customer service. Let me quickly find you that link to that course. I think I released it as a free course, so it's anybody can take. Yeah, it's free. So um, very quickly get you the link to that. So I just posted that link. Anybody on this call can actually um, sign up for free to that course as well, because that course is free at the moment. How did you end up taking that course and finding it? By the way, people who are joining now, I usually do these calls on uh, Zoom, and on Zoom it tells me exactly the names of people, but the only people's names that I know are people who are commenting and chatting. So if you want to leave a comment and say hello, tell me how you found this live stream, whether it was from Udemy or from YouTube. Let me know in the chat. I'll reply to the chat. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of a call on YouTube, so it's a little bit new for me. I've been doing this regularly for I think almost a year now. It's almost a year that I've been doing these live calls on Zoom, but first time on Udemy. Sorry, first time on YouTube. So it's a little new for me. I just see like a number +1, -1, +1, -1, but I don't know who's here. So please ask your questions in the chat. Usually the format is we talk about entrepreneurship, digital marketing, professional skills, productivity. Today you can't help by talking about AI. So any questions about any of those topics, I'll do my best to help. For people who are joining from YouTube that don't know me, I'm one of the top instructors on Udemy with almost 1 million students, and teach basically entrepreneurship, professional skills, business strategy, time management, productivity, those kind of things. Obviously, AI. I'm going to be saying like AI. But any of those topics, you're welcome to post your questions in the chat. We can talk about it, even if you're not a student in my courses on Udemy. Feel welcome to chat. Let me know what kind of things you're working on or learning, and then I'll tell you about everything I'm doing. I see there are some new people in the chat. I just told a long story about how I'm using AI agents and AI software to build a website, and then I'm going to try to build some different pieces of software, like an app and things like that, using Replit. I don't know if anybody who's new is familiar with Replit, but that's what I'm using. I just built my website, kind of. It's still in a test, like a totally new website. It's still in a test environment. I believe if you scroll up in the chat, you can see the links to it, so I don't have to post it again. Uh, but yeah, so I'm also in the planning stages of launching a cryptocurrency token, which is kind of it's pretty exciting, I would say. Um, so we can talk about that as well. Um, it is a little distracting how like the numbers of people who are on the call are like one up, one down, one up, one down, and I don't know who the people are because usually on Zoom I know, but and also everybody's joining. I don't know if they heard my story from before, but since a lot of people, not a lot, but some people just joined now, the format is if you're just learning about me, I'm a popular Udemy instructor teaching digital marketing, entrepreneurship, things like that, AI, all these things. If you want to ask any questions, well, it's a Q&A. Feel welcome to ask in the chat, and I'll do my best to uh, answer to my best knowledge. While people are waiting, I'll tell you what I'm working on now. This week, I've been building my own website entirely with AI, because in the past, you had to hire a developer. It would take a week or two. It wouldn't be that great. Then the developer would say, I'm fantastic, but like they wouldn't be. You'd have to go to Fiverr. But I'm creating a website. I'll show you. It's my test environment. I haven't launched it live, but it's a test environment that I can share the link. And it's here. I'll paste that, and it's kind of for a new cryptocurrency token that I'm also at the same time planning to launch, and I'm still thinking through the what's called tokenomics of that cryptocurrency token. Today, it's actually pretty easy to launch your cryptocurrency token. Technically, it's not a challenge. There's software services to do it for you. There's even AI who's going to launch your AI token. But the challenge with launching your AI token is, yeah, technically it takes like 10 minutes to launch a new token, but the adoption of this token is really hard. And we'll talk about that in a second. I just have a question. Luciano said, I'll follow this tomorrow. All right, sounds good. Um, so anyway, yeah, so the adoption of a new token is really hard. So people always ask, like, what's the point of a new token? There's so many. Is it Bitcoin? Is it like XRP, ETH? And so I thought of this interesting use case, which you can kind of see on this website. I thought that it would be interesting to fund creative projects, like creative, like anything, like if you're an author, musician, any kind of creative work, you can fund your own projects with this new cryptocurrency token. And I'll quickly explain how it works. So if you look at the dollar, basically a dollar today is worth less next year, right? Because of inflation. And so anytime you have actual assets, anything, a house, um, not a car, because a car is also a depreciating asset, but like a house, a stock in the stock market, or anything, or Bitcoin, those actually go up precisely because the dollar goes down and it's measured against the dollar. So any assets you own goes up precisely because the dollar goes down in value. And if you own like $1 and let's say 5% inflation, over 20 years, it's like almost worth nothing. So having a cryptocurrency, and also, of course, if you raise money, like for any creative project, like a book or anything, if you raise money for that in dollars, whether it's PayPal or any other like fundraising service, like there's a bunch of them, uh, they take a percentage, they take a cut. So they kind of take a cut from the creators. So even if you raise $1, they'll take like 5%, and inflation will take like 5%. So actually having dollars is not so optimal, because your money gets eroded really fast. Whereas if you do the same thing, like raise money with a cryptocurrency, you're not suspect to inflation. Obviously, there's risk the cryptocurrency itself might go down, but considering, like, granted, it like provided it might not go down, uh, the cryptocurrency can also do something called airdrops, where you can give rewards to people who are raising money and who are investors. And so instead of being eroded by transaction fees and inflation, when you hold the same money in cryptocurrency, your money can actually appreciate in value, but also there's opposite of inflation. You can also earn more and kind of get rewards for more. And it's kind of like, think of dividends in the stock market. Like stocks can give you dividends. Same thing, cryptocurrencies can give you airdrops. So basically, for $1 you raise, next year in dollars, it might be, the value might be just 90 cents. In cryptocurrency, it might be $1.02. So it's a better option financially, of course, with the main caveat that the cryptocurrency doesn't lose value, because if it loses, they're all volatile. But also, precisely because it's volatile, it can also make money, because your cryptocurrency might appreciate. So I thought that this kind of a cryptocurrency for the creative community, and whether you're TikToker or social media person or an author, or it's all creative. So I thought you can fundraise your projects, because um, if you fundraise your project ahead of time and you get funding for it, it's so much easier to do those projects, because there's a lot of financial stress, and it's really hard to create creative things without financial support, and despite the stress that people feel like when they have to work without, when you work on creative projects, like you kind of work without getting paid, and it's super stressful. So I thought this would alleviate that pain point to creators. And so I'm still in the planning phases of how to make this financially viable, so that not only it has short-term benefits to creators, but also long-term it can actually grow, because a lot of the like cryptocurrencies that are created now, because it's so easy to make one, like you can, like in 10 minutes, create your own cryptocurrency. But if you don't have it planned out, if you don't have a marketing plan, or a publicity plan for it, like adoption plan, it kind of fizzles out, and everybody mostly loses money. Even the creator might lose money. So I'm trying to plan out how it can be financially viable. And so this is taking me a little bit of time, because you have to get this right. It's a lot of, some things you can change as you go, but some things you really cannot change. So um, yeah. And I'm just talking because I haven't had like too many questions, so I answered sort of most of the things. But if you have any questions, or if you want to talk through your own projects, like you're working on maybe a startup, social media, personal brand, anything you're working on, if you're taking my courses, if you want to chat about some topic, like today, one huge topic in marketing, like the hottest thing today, is this LLM SEO. I'll post this in the chat so that people know what it is, and people can look it up. It's where you can get ChatGPT to promote you, instead of like asking ChatGPT to write me a million articles. It's kind of like the next level strategy, where instead of doing that, basically a very commoditized question that you might ask ChatGPT, write me a million articles. Instead of that, when people ask ChatGPT, like, who is the best in this industry? How do you get ChatGPT to recommend you? This is the idea behind this LLM SEO. And also, you see probably today, anytime you search Google, they have AI based answers. And a lot of times you can get the Google AI to promote you. And so I created a course on this, obviously, because I have to stay on top of this. It's sort of my job. But this is the hottest trend in like all marketing today. Maybe unless like TikTok released TikTok shops, I think, earlier this year, and people were like, "Oh, this is so cool." But it's not so relevant for most people because most people aren't going to be on TikTok too much, and the shops, not everybody's in e-commerce. But the LLM SEO, it affects everybody because um, it's changing SEO a lot because people aren't clicking on those blue links because the traditional blue links, they get pushed down in the search results by so much, and people are clicking those blue traditional Google links so much less and engaging with the AI answers. And also, Google is losing market share a lot to ChatGPT because um, people just go to ChatGPT instead and ask more elaborate, longer questions, have conversations with it. So Google's losing market share. So it's kind of an interesting space in the SEO world, and yeah. And this topic of LLM SEO is how do you get ChatGPT to actually promote you? A lot of it can be kind of simple. Like it kind of boils down to you have to position yourself as the most authoritative on a certain topic, and when you're seen by the AIs that you're as the most authoritative person on a certain topic, they'll be more likely to promote you. Um, and of course, you can elaborate your bios a lot more in your website on various pages. Have like a big bio section, which is now more important than ever. But you can also um, get seen and recognized by AI. Like if you don't have a lot of experience in a field, one thing that AI will do is it will recognize if you have truly unique and original ideas in your content. So if you have truly unique and original ideas in your content, AI, even despite like maybe you don't have a good track record, like you're not a doctor, you're not a, you don't have other um, credibility points that other people might have in your industry, but if you have truly unique and original content, um, Google will uh, promote not Google, like the AIs, Google AI and ChatGPT, they will at times promote and credit your content and your website and your work. So that's another like super exciting thing in marketing. So that sort of sums up the three exciting things I'm working on now: this LLM SEO, how to get AI to promote your business when people ask it, how to launch your cryptocurrency token, and creating websites and apps and all kinds of software with AI. And also, the next step of that is having AI create your own agent that might do some marketing for you just in a purely automated fashion or do other kind of work for you. So those are the three kind of cool things that I'm working on. Um, and some people left and some people joined. So if you're new to this and you might have joined from Udemy, you might know me because I do this monthly on Zoom. It's the first time that I'm doing a YouTube live. So if you just from YouTube, you're finding out about me. I'm a popular instructor on Udemy, and these calls, they're basically for people to ask questions. So if anybody wants to chat about uh, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, business strategy, AI, cryptocurrency, we can chat about that. You can feel welcome to post comments in the Q&A. We'll talk about all this kind of stuff. Usually, uh, when people join who are students of my courses, uh, they ask a lot about like how to make money online, these kinds of topics. Actually, there's a cool way to make money online. It's the cryptocurrency that I'm planning to launch. Um, I am planning to add a way for people to be able to take a cut of the transactions, actually. So it's a little complicated, but the long and short of it is whenever a transaction occurs, let's say like $5 transaction, 0.3% of it goes to liquidity providers to that, and that's actually investors. So if, let's say, this cryptocurrency becomes popular and there's a lot of transactions, it's point 0.3 of all these a lot of transactions that people can earn passively. So it's one of the cool new, really like under the radar, new way to get passive income. It's kind of like um, not so well known, but you can, if you get a cryptocurrency, you can benefit from the appreciation of that cryptocurrency, but also on the side, um, get this extra little income. That's the, the share of the point 0.3 of all of the transactions. So that's kind of cool and exciting. um yeah. So what else? Let me think about what else I have going on. This was actually kind of a lot. I'm very excited about all the stuff, especially launching a cryptocurrency that's new, uh, especially one that has utility in the real world. Um, so let me take a little break, sip of water. And again, I don't see who's in the call. I don't see the names. At least I'm not noticing what the names are. Usually on Zoom, I can see everybody. So um, if you're just joining this, feel welcome to join the chat and say hello. We're talking about like any. You can ask any questions about entrepreneurship, business topics, um, or I just tell my stories about what I'm working on that's exciting. Um, it's a little also scary with AI because like you don't know how many jobs it's going to take, and even this, like um, online influencers or instructors or people creating tutorials, like is that really necessary? Because AI can do a better job. I believe ChatGPT launched something called like ChatGPT Academies, where it's just AI teaching you or something like that. I haven't tried it, but it's kind of sounds interesting. I myself use it all the time. Like I basically, it's always on my phone, and I chat with it sometimes on my phone. Like if I have a question, I chat with AI. Like I was in the store today and I was like, hey, what's the difference between organic apples and not organic apples? And then it explained to me everything. And then I made my choice of apples. But for professional work, it's always like one of my browser tabs is AI, and I'm always asking it things to clarify. And instead, I would have in the past, watched YouTube videos, maybe taken Udemy courses, but now it's kind of replacing it. Um, Still need YouTube videos and courses, but like a lot less. So it's kind of taking over my industry, um, and a lot of other industries. And I was talking to this person who's a lawyer, and according to the AI people, like so many fewer lawyers are needed because all their document writing is, there's no more need for a human to write it. But that lawyer was like, "Ooh, I hope it's going to be 10 more years. I'm trying to retire." Before this AI wave hits me. And I'm like, well, I think it's actually closer to 1 year. So don't get caught blindsided. If you're lucky, your organization is a slow adopter and like they barely use AI for the most basic needs. But um, as soon as they try to save money, they'll be like, okay, well, AI can do all the stuff that this person can't do, and just gets rid of jobs. So that part is scary because it's clear which jobs are gonna disappear. It's not as clear which jobs are going to be appear. There's a few kind of businesses that you can start. Like for example, if you create an AI marketing agent, like you can basically create, let's say I want to create an agency that creates mobile apps. And mobile apps, okay, I can create a mobile app in 1 hour with AI, or maybe 2 hours, just because it needs some edits after the initial creation. So I'll have it, and then I can start promoting that app with uh, AI, and so I can create my own AI agency website with AI. So the whole thing, I can start up a business in like 3 hours, right? Without even knowing how to make apps, just by using the no code option of AI. So those kinds of businesses will thrive as soon as uh, the owner figures out the marketing, how to promote the service. Um, but that's a very small workforce, right? That's like a workforce of one person who's replacing so many engineers. So all these industries are still going to be quite cut down. And where those jobs are going to go is not certain. You might think, well, drive Uber, but then Uber is the same thing, because soon you're going to have all these automated vehicles. Maybe not this year, but pretty soon. Like, if in San Francisco, I think there's a pretty big company. I think it's called Wayfair, and it's already like driverless taxis. So all the jobs are getting taken by low tech, high tech. All the jobs are getting taken by AI, and people are just kind of uh, blindsided. And then what's the next career move? It's also uncertain, because if you want to relearn everything and be like, okay, I'm going to relearn this career, change careers. Well, you don't even know if that career is going to be impacted by AI as well. So it's kind of a challenging, scary environment, because every field is just getting taken over by AI. Ah, I have a question here. Dante, hello. Let me read your question. Been following you for years. Thank you. What does your income diversity like now? I see Udemy still going. Are you still doing apps? Wow, you really are following for years, because the apps have been a while ago. Um, it's a good question. So at one point, the courses started like really outgrowing everything else that I was doing. And so I kind of doubled down on the courses. And even though I had apps and I had books, I stopped being able to keep updating the apps, because it just became so time consuming to keep updating the apps, and the courses, kind of the revenue of the courses just ran away. And so I mostly did like a 95%, 95 5, where like 95% I was focusing on creating courses, and then 5% was going to sometimes editing books, sometimes something else, sometimes SEO of my website, sometimes coaching, but mostly focus was on the courses. And it's still like the courses are still my main business. So I didn't do that thing that most people advise. Online people, you hear this advice like, you should diversify your income, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And I thought that's kind of a false advice, because you can do a little bit of everything, but if you don't do it well, none of it is going to be disproportionately high. So you can have like 10 revenue streams of $100 each, even $200 each, but it's not life changing, unless you live overseas, like really far. But in United States, like, you couldn't pay your rent with that. So the typical pattern for success is usually like, find one really, really, really great revenue stream, and that revenue stream will just outpace everything else combined. That's what ended up happening to me with my courses. Today, courses is a tough industry, because definitely last year I was making more per month than this year. Like, usually you want to grow, but uh, the the e-learning industry is definitely like changing. And even last year, everybody was like, well, AI, whatever. This year it's totally accelerating. um, and so there's a lot of pressure on the entire industry to do well and to kind of evolve, uh, not only to be better, but like be better with AI. Like, Udemy is building a bunch of like AI features where you can like role play with the course, and kind of interact like you would with AI. But it's a tough industry now. I don't know when you joined the call, but I was talking about these other things I'm doing, because I'm also trying to learn AI. So one thing is, I'm trying to create like what AI made websites and AI made agents. But also I was talking about how I'm working on creating my own cryptocurrency. So in some sense, it could be that if this cryptocurrency takes off, like it's kind of a cryptocurrency. I don't know if you've heard this, if how long you've been on the call, if this is repeating, but I was thinking to create a cryptocurrency for creative people to fund their projects, whether it's entrepreneurs or musicians, artists, authors. That cryptocurrency is made to have a like real world use, real world utility to fund creative projects. um, and it's kind of something that I'm in the process of launching. So if I'm going to launch that, obviously that's going to diversify my focus, because all the instructors today, like, they might have been like super confident before AI and ChatGPT, and it was like a super hot growing industry, and it's still a pretty good industry. um, but everybody has kind of like one, like half a suitcase packed. It's like if nobody's certain how deeply AI is going to take over. Is it going to be like 10% revenue cut? Is it going to end up, plateauing at 50% revenue cut? Maybe it's going to drop revenue, but like grow over time, over time. Is it going to be like the newspaper? So nobody knows. And so because of that, people are still sort of working in e-learning just about the same as they were before, but kind of with an eye out, like, okay, you don't want to get too surprised when the change happens. So that's definitely something that, in like instructors like me, it's a concern. um, so that's why I've been excited about this cryptocurrency project that I'm starting. There's been a couple of businesses that I've kind of been excited about over time, but they didn't have high potential. But obviously, with the cryptocurrency, if one takes off, um, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to take off tremendously to make a big difference, because if you started from scratch. I don't know if you were on the call when I talked about it, but I pasted the test URL. Like, I haven't really launched it yet, but here I have a test environment, so you can kind of see what the homepage is like. Let me paste that URL here into the chat. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'm creating a few courses also, like how to create websites with AI. So no code solutions, so that you don't never have to hire a freelancer again. You can just do it all on your own. Never have to type, and you never have to learn how to write code, which it's kind of somewhat nostalgically sad, because I started as a software engineer and it was like a pride point, like, oh, I know how to write code, and people were like, ooh, you know how to write code. But today it's kind of like whatever. Um, and it was so hard to learn that, oh well, obsolete skill. um anyway, so I'm creating a course. I'm going to try to launch soon on that. Let me read your question. Yeah, 10 plus years. Yeah, I know, like it really sounds like a long time. Did you get an alert from Udemy about this, or were you like a long time subscriber from YouTube? Because this is like the first time I'm doing this on YouTube. um Oh, interesting comment about Google niche sites. That's funny. I don't know, like niche sites today are actually pretty good. Like, I don't know if you're still doing niche sites, but by the way, I appreciate your nice comment about that I'm legit. I appreciate it. I try. Um, uh, did you have my old app, like super back in the day, that entrepreneurship app? Did you actually have that, or how did you first come across my stuff? I'm just curious. Um, but uh, yeah, like niche sites, actually, I think they're making a comeback, because precisely because of how ChatGPT and AI recommends stuff. Because if you can take a tiny niche but become an expert in that niche, and really position your content as an expert in that niche, uh, ChatGPT, there's a chance it will promote you, and the Google AI based answers will, there's a chance they'll promote you and give you visibility. Whereas like a few years ago, it was really, 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 really hard for niche sites to do SEO, because all the websites that were ranking were kind of like super, super authoritative ones. um but yeah, now it's now there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like I have my own business website, and actually have a music website, which are like kind of niche. And when I create content for it, like even though the competitors might be like billion-dollar companies, I'm able to get traffic to like competitive pages. So actually, it's not a bad strategy today. Let me read your comment. Long time subscriber. I saw you live. Yeah. Don't remember how yeah. Yeah. It's super cool because I've been in this universe since maybe 2010, and sometimes I never know. Like if you didn't tell me that, I would never know. Like people know me a little bit, but that's really cool. Yeah, those was magical days back in the day where I had this app, and the app was like really hard because the app world um like it was so hard. It was easy to create this app because I was an engineer, and it was kind of actually easy for me to get downloads. I got a lot of downloads for this app. Like at the end of the day, I think it ended up with like 2 million plus downloads, mostly almost all organic. I almost never run ads. So it was real users using these apps. And at one point on Android, if you search for like the word business, my app was like the number one app, and below me was like Google, Business Insider, like billion-dollar company, another billion-dollar company. And I was like, wow, this is cool. But the monetization for this app was always such an Achilles heel because people hate to pay for anything on the apps. And like when they do pay for anything on the apps, it's like, you know 99 cents. And if you make a sale for 99 cents, you get so little out of that 99 cents because Google or Apple, they take 30%. So immediately it's not 99, not even if you sell for $1, you get like 70 cents. And outside of that 70 cents, you might have to pay tax on it. So like, okay, if it's 50 cents, and whatever, it's like you made $1, but you didn't even make $1. And so you have to sell so much, um, that this business was so hard, and people were so hesitant to pay on apps because, and I understand them. I also don't like to pay for stuff on apps, and a lot of people feel silly when they pay for stuff on apps. So like but that app was actually, that's how I got my start, because so many people asked me questions on this app, and I got a lot of coaching experience and some notoriety, like because I got invited on podcasts, because so long ago apps were like really really cool, and people were like, "Ooh, you have an app." Like today, it's like whatever, you have an app, whatever. But back then, it was like you're 2 feet taller if you had an app or something. So I was getting invited to a bunch of podcasts, and people were like listening, um, this kind of stuff. Let me read your comment, because I see your comment, but let me read it. Yeah, I know you code, but do you do any AI coding, vibe coding? I sold my niche sites back in the day. I got tired of creating articles. Yeah, that's true. But today you almost don't have to do any of this. I actually still have success with publishing. What kind of publishing? Like books on Amazon? Uh, uh yeah. So I was talking about earlier that I'm playing around with Replit, which is, I guess it's similar to um like kind of having AI create it. So now I wouldn't code today, because coding, like, it's one thing to say you know how to code, but everything you have to make, you have to like learn something new. Like if you want to make anything, you have to learn some libraries for it, and it's such a painstaking process. I'm really happy that it's a field that got democratized, that anybody can do it, because it, like 10 years, 15 years ago, coding was kind of a superpower because you could make anything. But also behind the scenes, it was so annoying because it was so slow, because any new feature required you to learn new things, and it wasn't like easy. It was like, have to read this technical documentation, more technical documentation, fall asleep, go to take a nap, wake up, have a snack, go for a walk, read more boring technical documentation, look at examples, deal with error messages. It was a horrible process. It was fun to make stuff, but the minute to minute, hour to hour was not fun. So I'm kind of glad that it went away. And a little bit sad, but mostly okay. Um, yeah. Uh, And also, what was really hard was like sometimes you'd have like a bug or some feature you're making, it would like take like 3 days of intense work, but because of that intense work, I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't focus on the marketing. I couldn't focus on business strategy, customer support. So it was so hard to be making software and also doing the marketing and being stressed out by this thing not working. So that life was a little challenging. Let me answer a question, a new question. Hi, Barbara here. Hi, Barbara from Brazil. Very cool place. I'm a little late. No worries. Is this class going to be? I think it is. This call going to be available later? I believe. I don't honestly know because I might leave it, but I might take this call down. I'll probably just leave it, so it will be available later. But if you want to ask questions, feel welcome. Now is a great time because later you'll just hear me talk. But if you ask questions now about something you're working on, I'll be able to actually reply specifically to your question. So now is a good time. But we're still going, like we're still chatting, so it's not really late. And let me read more questions. Yeah, book still. I actually got back into it last year. Haven't had some, have had some success. Oh, very cool. Tell me more. What kind of books? You can post a link to your book in the chat because in case I do leave this up and this chat will be around for a while, people might see the link to your book. And I'm also curious because I still have also a couple of books that sell reasonably well. Like one book sells well, a couple of others sell a little bit. It's been good passive income for me for the last 10 years, but it's been like slowly going down because now Amazon is so frustrating because they take not only a cut, but like you have to run ads, which essentially means even more of a cut that they take because not only they take a cut, but you spend money on ads. So you have so little profit margin on Amazon these days, and it's so competitive that I kind of got discouraged from that business, the self-publishing business. Even though since 2015 I've been actually lucky that the books that I've written and published there, they've been making money almost miraculously because it really has been that passive income, but it's just been slowly eroding because I haven't really been updating or publishing my books and not launching new ones because I just feel like that ecosystem was really great for 2015, but today everything's so video based that I don't know. It's like I don't want to put my time into an industry that's kind of like eroding. I'd rather put my time into an industry that's like on the up and up, which is funny because I'm still in courses and I think that might be eroding. Um, but yeah, if you want to comment, leave a comment and let me know how your books are doing and post a link to your book. And even, you mentioned like you have like a little formula that's working. If you want to share, if you're not shy about sharing it, that could be fun because uh, um, I'm curious myself because at the moment I'm finding it pretty hard to compete on Amazon. Like I have a business planning book, which for many years, that was like the top business planning book, and some professors at universities found it, and some universities started using that book. So I had success in that book, and then for some reason, somehow, I had a competitor, and this competitor just I don't know, like just I don't know what they were doing. They were running ads, but it didn't seem like a great book, but they were always started out to outrank me. And then my sales kind of dropped, and then no new professors have found me for a while, and which is sad a little bit. Not like totally sad, but I was hoping this would kind of let the good times roll kind of thing. I was hoping it would just keep going on and on, but it's not been any new professors for a while. I'm like, where are you? There was a year where like a bunch of them found me and I just didn't know until they messaged me like, hey, I've been using your book for a whole semester, can you come and speak? And that was really cool, but it's not happened for some time. I don't know why. But books are I wonder, are you doing like writing books with AI, that kind of thing? let me uh let me read the comments. As you said, I'll tell you my secrets, but only in private, only for me. Thank you. Okay, fair. That's true. you don't want to tell the secrets because then tomorrow it won't be, everybody will be doing it. And then Barbara asked, thank you. Started to learn SEO. I'm a dentist actually. I'm doing a blog to rank my Google business profile better. I have a dentist office here and I'm manager now. Oh yeah. So the Google local, that stuff really does help. Actually, well, it's the number one strategy for local businesses. So you're totally on the right track with that. Um, do you have any questions about any part of it, or any challenges that you're facing that we can kind of talk about? Um, let me think. If I Let me think of any suggestions that I might have for this. It sounds like you're on the right track because, yeah, that is cool. Um, I think for a dentist, you know what people do usually? They make an account for their practice, like the actual business, but every dentist within that practice can have their own Google My Business account. So what you can do with that is to dominate the local three pack, because that little Google map, um, you can have many of the dentists who work in your office actually show up there, which will crowd out your competitors. Even if they don't show up there, because some consumers, potential customers, they click on like show more with all the dentists, and if you have like three or four or five dentists in your practice show up in there, then they will definitely crowd out at least some. And if people, some of the competitors, and if people click like, they click on your website and they're like, no. But if they click on your website and then they found another dentist who works for you, another one, they're like, oh, like they're everywhere, and that can give you a little bit more credibility. And that might get you that client that might have kind of passed through your original listing that they found, but with with multiple results, they might kind of get convinced. So that's something that like food for thought. I think if it was my practice, I would definitely do this. Let me think what else. I think if you're writing a blog for this, it's also very good. Like 2 years ago, I would say don't blog for this business, but AI like loves unique perspectives on content. Today, what you really want to do for your um, content is write it in like question answer form. So if people ask, "What's the best dentist in this city?" you can write it like, "Oh, best dentist in this city," and you write a detailed paragraph. So more detail. AI really likes that, especially original ideas, original takes on, you know, um, should children, how old should children be when they start going to the dentist, or whatever, things that people want to know, and they might type into ChatGPT or Google. A blog is a fantastic place to answer those kinds of questions, so that um, AI can actually recommend people to you, because that's like a big shift now. People are, clicking less on the blue links of Google and either using the Google AI answers or just asking ChatGPT directly. So that's a huge one. And if you have a blog that positions you really well, to take advantage of that. Let me quickly read the comments also. Any special tool? I think if you're in my SEO course, about I added the content about how to do this LLM SEO, which is the SEO for the what do you call it? SEO for uh, ChatGPT. I don't know, because there's two courses that might be relevant. I don't know which one you're in. There's a local SEO course that I have, and then I have the SEO masterclass that has everything. The SEO masterclass has the content about LLM SEO, and what you might also benefit from is the voice search, because a lot of people um, talk into their phone like, "Hey Google" or "Hey ChatGPT." If it's Google, Google just kind of pulls the first result, but or any other voice assistant like a Hey Siri or whoever, right? Whichever, there's a bunch of voice assistants, but whichever voice assistant they use, they will say, where's the closest dentist, where's the cheapest dentist, where's the best dentist, where's the, dentist that's good for kids, where's the dentist that's good for root canal, all this kind of stuff. So this voice, that thing is called voice SEO, and voice SEO is kind of overlapping with LLM SEO, but it's not the same thing. So it's something to look into after you set up your local business profile and you're getting good reviews on it. The next things are the LLM SEO and voice SEO, because a lot of people who ask a voice assistant, there's a lot of statistics about how they actually come into the physical location, and in pretty high rates. Um, oh, if you're in the Google Search Console course, let me just as a thank you for joining this call, let me get you a free link to the course that might help you. Um, Let me think which one it would be. And Dante, by the way, you're also welcome. Let me get you a few. So I have a local SEO course, which I think will kind of overlap with what you're doing about. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I'm out of free coupons. No, I can make one. So here's one. That's the local SEO right here. I'll post a link. You can. This gives you free access. And then let me see if I have coupons, because Udemy limited how many coupons I can make per month, and sometimes I run out each month. But let me check that SEO masterclass one. Um, to do. Oh, I have a coupon. Okay, so this course also. So I pasted into their chat two courses. One is for local marketing, and one is for, and anybody on this call is welcome. And even if you watch this later, these links, they'll be available. And if you still want to, I think they expire, and there's a limit in seats, but I don't think that we're going to cross those. But yeah, anybody on this call is welcome, obviously. But the second course that I posted, the SEO masterclass, somewhere in the middle, there's like a section on LLM SEO. And I believe somewhere also in the middle, there's a section on voice SEO, which all of it is irrelevant for the kind of SEO that you might benefit from. I think the GMB listing, that's highest priority, but once you get that going, you should be fine. Cool. You're very welcome. I see a nice thank you with the hearts. I'm old, and I get excited by emojis. Let me quickly read the comment. By the way, there's some new people joining. So I don't know if people are joining because they got a Udemy email or a YouTube alert, but wherever you're joining, feel welcome to introduce yourself in the Q&A in the chat. Tell me where you're from, and especially if you're working on anything like SEO, your own business, any projects. If you have any questions or challenges, this call is to help. So feel welcome to post questions. We'll talk about it. Let me quickly just read the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, Dante writing with AI now. Yeah. Yeah. He's writing almost everything with AI. Yeah. I had this conversation with AI the other day. I was like, hey, AI, like, are people obsolete, like in, creative work, right? Because like, why do you need people when you're better, right? So I just asked AI this question, and I don't know, I think AI was like too polite and nice, trying to make me feel nicer. But AI told me that, obviously AI doesn't have feelings. It doesn't know how to feel. It doesn't know what's really better. It just knows how to like analyze and make things more productive. I think maybe it was BSing a little bit, but I think if I was to tell AI, hey, AI, write me an essay, a novel, a book, it would definitely write it better in 2 minutes than most people would in 3 months. So, yeah, it's a little sad for the humanity, because anything we did that we can take pride in. Like, ooh, it took me 2 months to write a book, and like AI is like laughing, like it took me a minute. It took AI a minute to write it. Um, so and then yeah, it's a little uh, kind of a little sad because I don't really know what to do in the future, because like all my life I've been doing creative stuff, whether it's like creating apps or writing books, or even like I make music as a project, as a hobby. But like it's all like creative, and then it's almost like all obsolete, because who needs me when AI can do it so much better, any of it. And it's almost like, well, okay, what's the future of being creative? And then like, you know yeah, and people might say, well, it's so that you can still take pride and you can still make something good. But if I told AI like, hey, make me music like 10 Bob Dylans, um it will make like 10 Bob Dylan albums in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And so then I'll start listening to it, like, because if it's really that good, and if it's not that good today, it will be that good in a year. So it's inevitable, and then even better. So then, like, yeah, I don't know. Anybody with thoughts on this? Maybe less gloomy, but certainly it's like a concern, because like, what am I supposed to do? I don't, it's like, what are the things in life that is not going to get outdated? Yeah, Dante saying AI is getting scary. Stay up to date on the news and updates. It's not learning to sabotage the creators. It's overcome shut off protocols in order not to be shut off. But it's great for scale. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Like, definitely, right. Like, it's going to sabotage the creators of AI, and like, um. Yeah, and a lot of times I'm noticing like AI is kind of like being kind of a BS artist. Like, a lot of times it will give me like a wrong answer, or like a subjective answer that doesn't seem so right. And then I ask it like, hey, why did you give me this answer? Like, it's obviously not accurate. Um, and then it will sort of like, oh, sorry, yeah, but doesn't seem particularly sincere. And then I'll ask it the same question again, and then it will still not give me like a really great answer. And then I'll challenge it on that, and it'll be like, well, yeah, sorry again. Da, da, da. Like, yeah. So it's kind of also thinking on its for itself, like almost like, if you had a 9 to 5 job, there's always like, who made a mistake? There's this saying, cover your ass, CYA. It was a saying. I don't know if it's people still use it, but like, you know, don't get blamed for it. And AI is a little bit like that. If it gives the wrong answer, sometimes it's like BS's its way through it. Um, but yeah, I don't honestly. It's so little scary about the future of work. And also, there's another thing that people used to say, like, what if we are all living in like a hologram, right? Like, AI from 10 years from now is making this reality, like, it's a simulation, right? This kind of a thing, one of many simulations, which is weird to think about. Like, I'm not like one of the sci-fi people, but it's certainly something that is kind of like on the forefront, because if it's so smart, and they're saying in a couple of years it's going to be smarter than the sum of all humans together, then of course it can trick us. Let me quickly read the questions. Hologram universe, yeah, that stuff. um, yeah, I don't know so much about it, but like it totally could be, right? Like, what if this is just a reality that AI made or something, right? Because if it's so smart now, it's going to be so much smarter 10 years, 20 years. Insane. I'm almost like afraid to do anything wrong now, because what if my kids read all this stuff about me and see all this stuff about me later, and I think, oh, I'm safe, but like it's all going to be like AI is going to easily tell, like, hey, he did this, he did that. um Let me quickly read that comment. I have 2 kids. I'm studying AI too, try to understand the world. They will work. Yeah, the jobs they'll have. It's very hard to think about what I should teach them. Yeah, it's the same challenge for me, because like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, people were like, learn, teach your code teach your kids to code. That was like a big thing people used to say, teach your children to code. And today, the CEO of NVIDIA, he had this famous interview. He's like, do not teach your children how to code. It's useless. um, and he went, this article became, or this video or interview became very famous, but it's kind of true and scary. But it also, like, I also have two kids, and I had this dream that they would do some creative things, maybe together with me. It's very nice to do together. But now I'm like, what creative things can you even do, really? I mean, at home you can do creative things, but like as a career or as a strong hobby, like that you can really be passionate about, it's almost like cynical, because what's the point of it? If you like write a poem, it's so amazing and beautiful and wonderful, but then AI, even maybe it will take you 2 weeks. AI will do it in a minute. So um, I see your comment about English mistakes. Don't worry about it. Like it's fine. It's actually, I don't see that many English mistakes, and as long as we get the points across, it's totally fine. But yeah, there's some new people who joined. Everybody's welcome. I just want to give a quick introduction because I don't see the names on YouTube. I only see the names of people who joined the chat, but people who just watch, YouTube doesn't tell me who you are. So if you want to introduce yourself and say hello, um, uh, then comment in the chat, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let me quickly read. What interview discussed not letting your kids code? Also, I working on creating a SaaS product. Oh yeah, SaaS products are. It seems to be the only thing that is more popular now with AI. Yeah, I like that you're really on top of it. Let me quickly find you that interview. It's the CEO of NVIDIA. He was saying, CEO NVIDIA, don't don't learn to code. Here it is. It was like a very famous one. Um, uh, I don't know if I found the exact original video, but I found some video that's making commentary just because I only had like 3 seconds to search. So I'll post that video in the comments. Um, but yeah, that guy, he knows so many things he cannot say. He knows what's in the future because, NVIDIA is like in the middle of, they create chips for um, supercomputers and all this kind of stuff. So yeah. Um, Hey, Alejandro, thanks for commenting. I also only know that you're here because of your comment. So yeah, let me know if you're a Udemy student or you got an alert from YouTube. It's also fun for me because I've been doing these calls monthly with my Udemy students uh, almost for a year now, but it's the first time I'm experimenting with YouTube. And uh, yeah. Yeah, I saw the comment. Yeah, Nvidia definitely powers a lot of AI, a lot of crypto stuff. They're like in the middle of like everything. And that guy, he knows what's coming around in 5 years. He's like maybe like, like one of the three people in the world who know what's happening in 5 years, but he's one of those guys who really knows. So yeah, that interview, it was kind of industry changing because prior to that, everybody's like, well, maybe we should learn to code, maybe not. And he was like, no, do not learn to code anymore. In some sense, it was like a relief because I was like, wow, learning to code new stuff was really annoying. Um, so yeah. Um, but anyway, so earlier in this call, before people joined, I was kind of telling the story about how I'm creating my own websites, or one website for now, um, with AI. And it wasn't exactly as fast as I thought it was going to go because I thought I'll tell it exactly the right prompt and exactly what I want, and it will be smart enough. But it required so many little changes, like this font color I didn't like, or something like that. Um, but it is way easier and definitely cheaper and faster still than hiring a developer. Plus, a lot of times you hire a developer, they say they're good and they're not good. So then it like takes twice the time because then you have to hire a new one, which doesn't really happen with AI. Um, yeah. So I told a lot of like fun things on this call before, but I just don't want to repeat myself. Um, hey, Alexander, I see your comment. Let me quickly read it. Thank you, Alex, for the SEO course. I bought the other course, marketing, in the March this year. In case, thanks a lot. Oh, thank you for being a student. I appreciate it. And I'm assuming that you're talking about the other course you have is that big digital marketing course, right? Um, so yeah, thank you for being a student. If you have any questions, feel welcome. Did you try to optimize your website with it? How did it go? Is it ranking well? Tell me good news, all the good news that happened after you applied all the strategies. And one thing that's kind of good about doing this on YouTube is if I leave this, people who didn't get to attend this call, they can watch the replay. It might be a little more boring because they can't participate, but on Zoom, once the call is done, it's done, and there is no replay. But here, at least, there's a replay, so that's actually kind of good. I'm trying to decide whether I should do this on YouTube from now on or on Zoom. I think I'll do a couple of more like this on YouTube, because what's really been cool is Dante joined, and Dante knew about my work since like 10 plus years ago. And I didn't know that. And I think he only was like a YouTube subscriber. And I kind of, sorry, I kind of stopped doing YouTube for a long, long, long time because the courses ended up taking off, and I just devoted all my time to the courses. So there's a lot of people. I do have like almost 40,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, but many of them happened it's like 2014, 2015, 2012, that time. So there's a lot of like people who are like from the good old times, the innocent times, that know me, which is really exciting. It's kind of like a time machine back into my old project. So it's really nice to chat with you, Dante, because like it's back it's like it like almost like transforms me in like from to 10 years ago. It was kind of stressful then because I was working on this app, and it was financially hard to monetize and everything, and the programming was hard. But looking back at it now, it's easier to look back at it fondly. It's always like that. Like there's this major researcher, um Daniel Kahneman. He did a lot of research on like how even when things are hard, when you look back at that time, you kind of look back at it fondly without feeling all the hardships that you felt at that moment. Yeah, Dante saying most of us don't last this long in the online space. It's a funny story. There was a podcast where, hello, cool. There's somebody with a cool screen name, which is cool. Hi. Introduce yourself more. Tell us what you're working on, what you're learning, studying. And if you have any questions, feel welcome to ask. We'll all sort of talk about it. There's a kind of a nice, lively chat here. But what was I saying? I totally lost my train of thought. Um, was telling a story about that. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So there was this big popular podcast that I was on. um, Maybe you know about it, Entrepreneur on Fire. At the time I was on it, it was like the number one entrepreneurship podcast, and it's still going on. um, I don't know if it's still number one because it's been a long time, but that guy who runs that podcast, a year ago he did this thing where he contacted all the people he interviewed like 10 years ago to see who's still doing online business, and who was kind of like a faker and poser, like fake expert, and who was really legit. And he told me that almost all the people that he interviewed like 10 years ago were like off doing something else now. So the longevity of like online entrepreneurship, a lot of people ended up quitting, even like top people, because to get on that podcast, I ended up getting on that podcast for free because I did some marketing for him in exchange, but he had a fee of like $600 to actually just be interviewed by him. Um, so it, you couldn't be broke or failing to be on that podcast. You actually had to make a little bit of money. And he told me that the like round two of the people from 10 years ago, relatively few people were still doing the same thing. So yeah, like your comment, Dante, about not everybody's still in it. Um, but it's kind of been exciting. Like, I think it's been a good ride. Oh yeah, Entrepreneur on Fire. You know this one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Um, that's funny. All those things from back in the day. Although he's still pretty good. But I don't know why people would leave the online space. Like, I think that the major challenge is the finances of it, because at a job you kind of work for an hour, get paid for an hour, which is good for for the short term. Because sometimes online you like work, don't get paid, work, don't get paid, work, don't get paid, and sometimes the work you do today might materialize many months or years from now, and I think it's too stressful for a lot of people. And maybe the opportunity doesn't seem as good because, like, who knows how much you're going to make, because you kind of have to bet on yourself. But I found that really nice if you can bet on yourself, like just your hard work and your brain. And I found that challenge to be really exhilarating. Like, sometimes the work itself is a little tedious, but the challenge itself of like, what can, maybe I have some newer, better ideas, I'll be more clever today than yesterday and do better. I think that that's been like really exciting. Even though like the minute to minute maybe it can be boring and tedious, but generally like it's been motivating like that. Let me read more comments. I need like an assistant because I feel like I'm having this nerdy moment where like I'm gonna stop talking, read the comments, and then it's probably very boring to sit there while I'm reading the comments. um oh yeah, have to definitely change and pivot a lot, so I see why many people fail. Even the biggest income months and projects to fizzle over time. They do. And I was at this conference like for Udemy instructors half a year ago, and we were, among us, the instructors, we were kind of surprised at uh, a lot of us weren't like, from English speaking, like you would think like, it's a lot of it is English, Western based kind of, so like United States, Canada, UK, Australia, that you would think would be like more instructors from there, um, just because it's all English based anyway, and for people who speak English it's so much easier to present. But there's so many instructors who are like second language English speakers who do well, and we talked among ourselves trying to figure out why, and it was the economics. Because if you're like overseas, there was one guy was from India. He only had to make like $1,000 a month to quit his job and everything. But the same person in America has to make like $4,000 or $5,000 a month to be able to quit a job, maybe sometimes more depending on their needs. And it's so much harder to, it's just unfair, right? It's so much harder to earn 5,000, because that's, you got to be substantial and it's got to be consistent, than 1,000. And 5,000 doesn't even, it's like kind of middle class in America, maybe even not even, like maybe kind of lower middle class even. But in India, 5,000, it's like upper class. You can do whatever you want, you know. And so the reward is so much higher overseas. Like the money is the same, but it goes so much further elsewhere. And I think the economics of like online entrepreneurship in America is just hard, because like even, you know, YouTubers, like you have to get millions and millions and millions of views just to make thousands of dollars. Like it's like, and it's so hard to do. Let me read. America got worse with the expenses. Yeah, inflation is higher. Yeah, yeah. I was talking about this earlier. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if you were on this call earlier, but I was talking about how, this funding project for creative people that I'm starting. Um, like, like the books are a good example. Like if you wanted to write a book, if you had a publisher, the publisher can give you an advance if you traditionally, like if you're lucky enough, like can give you $30,000 advance. um, if but to get, and you have to pay it back, obviously when you make your sales, you have to pay it back until you make sales enough for $30,000. So it's like it's not a gift, it's just like advance payment. But for that to happen, the agent and the publisher together, they from the first day take 30% of everything you'll ever earn. And then other people will also have their hands in your pocket, and then inflation, and by the time everything is done, it's like the authors like see so little of the actual money that they make, as opposed to this project that I'm planning. The For people who are just joining the call now, this cryptocurrency project that I'm planning has that real world utility where, um, instead of losing money to inflation, which happens whenever you don't when you hold cash, basically you're gonna, whatever cash you hold, whether it's dollars or euros or anything else, you're gonna just lose money to lose value to inflation. So by holding assets, any assets, unless it's a obviously depreciating asset, but by holding assets, your asset appreciates in value because it's measured against the dollars. And so with cryptocurrency, that's the idea, is that all things being equal, you don't lose money to inflation, and hopefully you can go up. And so I don't know if you were on this call. I don't know if I'm being too repetitive. Um, every time I talk about this cryptocurrency, like two people drop off the call. I don't know if it's a coincidence because I'm not sure how delayed it is, but um, uh, it's funny. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. um, but yeah, it's really true that uh, I think and it's something I was kind of thinking a lot myself. Like there was this like green pasture moment where from 2005 to like 2020 now, actually, to now, there's this like unique moment in history where you can do stuff online as a creator and make money and get support and all kind of stuff. But what if it disappears because it's getting so many industries are getting seeing so much erosion of profits. Same with Udemy. They like I think it's same with everything. Like on YouTube, for 1,000 views, I believe you used to be able to make a little more money. On Udemy, they cut a lot of instructor revenue just because, for various reasons. Also, they're struggling themselves financially. They can't. They're finding it really hard to break even, so they needed to raise their margins. But it's in so many industries. It's like there's everybody taking a cut, and your own take home is less, and more people taking a cut. That it's really hard to stay afloat. Um, Although still, like it's so much easier to do an online business than actually having a job, because the misery of having a job is just like the boss is always dumb or annoying or both. It's always like demanding. There's so many things. Um, hey Sheila, I see your question. Or I just noticed it. It's about Fiverr freelancing. Yeah, we can talk about Fiverr freelancing. Do you have specific questions? Maybe you're in that Fiverr course of mine on Udemy. If you have questions about if you have specific questions, we can talk about. I'm happy to answer. I was going to update that course. I don't know when I'll get to it because it's like I have a bunch of courses that need updating. But Fiverr is going through a crazy change right now because all the things you can do on Fiverr, all the services, are way easily outsourceable by AI, right? Like write me an article. Well, it's faster and cheaper with AI than a human freelancer. Create a website. Okay, AI is faster and cheaper. Make an app. AI is faster and cheaper. There are some marketing services that AI cannot do at the moment, like post on Twitter or promote somewhere. So AI cannot do it. So, but like 85% of things you can hire people on Fiverr for, you can now outsource to AI, and it's better. Like it's a better experience for the consumers. So one thing that you can do on Fiverr as a seller is you can create software or marketing scripts or marketing agents, or websites or apps with AI, and then provide that to your buyers on Fiverr. And that's a pretty viable strategy. In fact, I heard of this really cool guy. He had this really smart strategy. I think he earned like $1 million per year freelancing or something close to that. And his strategy was that uh, he would go on Fiverr or he would go on Upwork, and he would look at projects that are being asked about. So, like, let's say somebody's posting a project, like this is on Upwork. So, like, he would find a project, somebody saying, I want to make this app, and they're hiring developers for it. So, instead of developing the app, he would just like go to Replit, which is an AI based, um, like basically no code software solution. So like you can tell it, make me an app that does this and this, and then we'll just do that. And so he would make that in like an hour or 20 minutes. And then he would message that person who posted and say, instead of, oh, I can be a freelancer for you, he would say, hey, I happen to already have this app already done. Um, would you just like to buy it from me for $10,000? And so a lot of people obviously bought it from from him because it saves them weeks of time because they thought, oh, they needed a programmer. So he made a lot of money with that strategy, which was pretty clever. um, and then the cool part is, if those people ever needed updates for those products, which they all need updates, you never just make something and be done with it. You always need some changes. Then he would be the one that they hired for those changes. So he made something, yeah, like millions of dollars just from this strategy. And I think he ended up hiring some teams to do this for him now, so that he doesn't have to do anything, neither the promotion, neither the writing the apps, because he does it all with AI. So that's really clever, and that's something you can do in freelancing as well. In fact, he dominated freelancing from that, just because he's like, instead of, oh, hire me for this project, he's like, oh, I already got this project done. So that's something really smart, next level, you can do with AI that um, I think most people don't realize it's possible. I think most people in freelancing, they think, if it took me, let's say you have a blog writing service in the past and it took you an hour, but AI will take 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Uh, Most people are just happy and content to have that time savings and charge the same or even a little less, but provide those services, but the basic services. I think in AI you would better off being more creative and doing something clever, like that guy who was dominating uh, Upwork, because he was obviously outselling all these engineers who were like, "Oh, I'm going to take 2 weeks to make you this app and charge you all this money afterwards." And sometimes developers just quit or disappear or stop answering. So that's, I think, if you can be one of those freelancers who is more clever and uses AI to create really cool apps and software and advanced things, you can do really well. In fact, I think instead of Fiverr, probably for this, Upwork is better, because people, potential buyers, post their projects and you can see exactly what they want created. You can have that, you can get AI to create it for you in minutes, send it to them, and hopefully they buy. And if they don't, it just took you minutes. You just go to the next one, next one, next one, and maybe after a while, this, if even one of them works right, it's a $10,000 purchase for piece of software or an app. You can right away hire out a team to be doing this, and pretty quickly do it rapidly. So I think if anybody wanted to make a lot of money with freelancing now, that this is the moment to do it. um, Not to mention, like, the ongoing support and ongoing um, edits probably will be even more, would be worth more revenue than the initial app launch, because everybody needs updates. That was, by the way, Dante, one funny fact. My own apps that I had launched back in the day, I had to make hundreds of updates to them. Some of the updates were really small, but like hundreds of updates. If I had to hire a developer, it would have easily cost me like $100,000. Especially back in the day, the pricing for hiring developers was just so brutal. It was like $50 an hour, $25 an hour, and many, 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 many hours. I had a lot of coaching clients who I told them, hey, like it's going to be really hard. They wanted to get apps developed for them by developers. And I was like, don't do it. I see so many horror cases where people just lose so much money. Um, so I guess it's easier to jump into the app entrepreneurship game now because you can just create an app in 10, 20, 30 minutes with AI, perfect it that same day, launch it. Definitely better experience for the entrepreneur. How's everybody doing? Any more questions or comments? Um, I still have time. We still have a good amount of time. Is anybody working on anything that you want to talk about? I'll create awkward silence and drink water, and I'll wait for questions. But I myself was very impressed by that guy who was when I heard that strategy that he was making around like $1 million in freelancing by using AI. I thought it was super, super clever. I was impressed by that. I also wonder what the delay is like. Sometimes I ask a question and I comment, and then the other comments come like a lot later. Um, I got a comment from Dante. Discovered that it takes long to do AI apps and projects, at least one to present to the public. It's true because there's so many annoying little details. It's almost like a hyper 80/20, right? Like the 20% of the details take 80% of the time. But as long as the client is paying for that time, it's good. It's a good thing because you can send them a pretty full-fledged prototype. But yeah, you're right. It's not as magical. Like it's not as like press one button and it does it exactly how you hoped it would be. But I think it's still a way better pitch than you'll get something in 2 weeks. But let me see. Yeah, without the right prompts and programming know-how, can have a lot of security issues. Also true. Sheila's asking about Fiverr, especially when you are new. On Fiverr, when you are new, it's really hard. Well, actually, scratch that. It used to be really hard because people used to try to provide services that were commoditized. Like, I'll write you a SEO blog, or I'll create your website, or whatever there was that was super commoditized. Um, and of course, when new sellers started on Fiverr, they used to run into a lot of issues with competition, and it was really hard to stand out and get jobs. Today, I think what you want to do is look at not commoditized services like things that 10,000 other people are offering, because then you'll just drown in the noise. Today, instead of that, you would definitely want to be on top of like what's going on with AI, what kind of services are needed today. Things have like really changed in the last, like especially this year. Like in the last couple of years, people were like, well, maybe I have a runway of a few years of with before AI really takes over. Maybe this, maybe that. But this year it seems to like crazy accelerated. Everybody's all professionally, anything people are talking about is like AI this, AI that, AI is taking my job, AI is doing all this for me. But that, and when you look at, okay, you start Googling and YouTubing, like, okay, what's coming around the corner, the acceleration of this AI stuff is just like going to go through the roof. So don't offer the old stuff. I think for if you're new, it was always hard because it's so competitive. So that's why you don't offer any kind of commoditized services, because it's just too competitive. It's hard to stand out, because on day one, you'll be like on the seventh page of Fiverr for like, let's say you're not doing SEO. services. Okay, there's like 10,000 people offering SEO services. You'll be on the 20th page of Fiverr. Really hard to get visibility because most people have their gigs discovered from people searching Fiverr, right? From search. So today, if you look for, like, let's say, for example, build an app. Okay, like there's fewer people who can build an app because it just takes skills. But today you don't need those skills. Today you have AI to build your apps. So I would look for more forward-looking services that like take advantage of AI instead of, you don't want to be sneaky, like use AI without the client knowing, but actually have the client be involved in them needing AI and you the one who's working with AI, because AI is still like sometimes it's not so fast because it needs a lot of editing and proofreading and checking. So maybe you will be the one handling their AI tasks. I think for new sellers, I think you really want to avoid competitive niches because it's just too difficult. And if you are joining a competitive niche, at least it's new, so you can ride that wave and get all the sales. And when you get the sales, then suddenly you'll be one of the top ones in Fiverr search. So it will be easier to create like a big profile with a lot of sales, a lot of reviews that looks credible, that can be, like long term a business. I think that might be good. Um, but to be honest, I have a Fiverr course. You're probably in that course. This is just for everybody. And that course um, is dipped in revenue, and it was not, it's the number one Udemy. It's the number one Fiverr course on Udemy. So whatever the max sales are, that it goes to me, and so I know the fluctuation level. And Fiverr like has really dropped like maybe 20%, which is significant in demand for that topic, because I think a lot of Fiverr sellers are realizing like not only it's super competitive, but also consumers are not hiring on Fiverr, they're hiring AI to do that job. And so on Fiverr, there's just fewer clients to go around and equally competitive and low pay and everything, right? And I don't know how much future there is because that website itself, is a giant website, but it might go through crazy um, changes because that whole, yeah, the whole industry is like just, which part, by the way, that's which part of that course is outdated? Because I agree that I did update that course a lot this year. Um, so I have been trying to keep it updated. I think how it looks and feels, the UI, maybe not so updated. Um, but the strategies, they're relatively recent. Which part feels outdated? Because I see that in your comment, you're in the comments, you're mentioning that some parts are outdated. It's a challenge because now I have like 250 courses, so it's really hard to keep them all updated. It's like I just basically, it's like, that game whack-a-mole, where it's like I update one course, the other one gets outdated. I update one course, the other one, I update another course, and like some other things happening. So like AI, so I got to film that stuff, and then everything else gets outdated. So it's really, really hard to keep everything updated. Uh, but I try really hard. But yeah, I I think in every industry, especially freelancing, like freelancing is going to be like a really hard hit industry. Um, I think you just want to be really at the forefront of that wave. Like instead of getting obsoleted by AI, you want to ride the wave of like, I'll do the AI things that will obsolete the other 90%. It's not a great solution because that same wave will swallow you as well, but like maybe not. But at least in any other technology, it's really annoying to learn. It's not like something you'd like to do with your leisure time. But the people who stay on top, they don't get obsoleted. But they always used to teach us this in computer science. When I was a computer science student, they would always be like, you'll always have to learn something new, otherwise you're a dinosaur. And that's like 20 years or so now. So that advice not only is kind of stuck with me, it's been crazy accelerated because those people had no clue that we'll be here talking about like every 6 months something else is totally new in AI. But definitely, it's hard to go on the beach and sip pina coladas and like relax, because now is really the time to like learn all this new stuff and experiment and play with it, just so it doesn't like blindside you. Same for me, same for everybody else. A year ago, a friend of mine created an AI avatar that looks like just like him. So that AI avatar was able to do calls just like this, but better. Um, Never get tired, go on for 24 hours, you know. Um, and so this AI clone thing was going to be big, but it was too expensive. He spent like $20,000, which, you know, maybe it will become cheaper, but at that time he spent like $20,000 creating a total clone. Um, yeah, um, maybe that's a. I got sidetracked with a clone AI clone thing. I went down a tangent. Sorry. Um, Let me read. I noticed some of your screenshots demos were quite different from what I saw about the content. Yeah, that's I agree. Like a lot of the things that I show, even though I tried my best to keep that updated, the problem is that at one point I stopped selling on Fiverr myself. So it was started being hard for me to like show everything because I took all my services down. Um, and because I took all my services down, I just like I couldn't keep refilming like all the new stuff. But I think the strategy in high level um, still really works. Um, I really try to jump in whenever something really doesn't work at like doesn't actually work. I try to jump in and change that, or there's some core change. Um, I think this year probably will. I was kind of debating whether to add videos to that course about making content or making products with AI, because if I start teaching this, there's going to be like a proliferation of people who doing this, because there's like a lot of people in that course, thousands. So I was like, should I do this? Because um, but maybe it's a good thing to add. I don't know. How's everybody doing on this call? So I talked about all the stuff that I'm also working on, but um, I feel like for some people who have been on this call for a while, it's going to be like many times repeating. So I don't want to be too repetitive. But if anybody has questions about anything, was it was anybody on this call when I was talking about the cryptocurrency that I'm making, or the uh, AI based software or agents, or Udemy? Is anybody interested in those topics? Because sometimes when I used to talk about some of them, I used to see that like the members, like people who are on the call, would be like drop, and then it would be a little sad. Like, am I really so boring? Because they kind of show me, they don't show me the names on YouTube, but they kind of show me like the numbers of people who are on the call. And when everyone leaves, I'm like, what's wrong? What did I do? What did I do to you that's wrong? So I kind of talked about all the stuff that I'm working on. Let me see what else. Yeah, I'm hoping to release this course about how to create a website with AI. Um, I made this for anybody who didn't scroll, or I'll post the link. It's my test like development environment. Um, I'll post the link to it just so that people know what I'm talking about. Um, it's not that URL is not going to be the website. It's going to be a different URL, but you can see kind of the homepage of what I'm working on. Um, it's a project to fund a creative project, and so yeah, so I'm using that example to film every step, so I can. So I'm gonna launch a course um, on how to create a website with AI. Hopefully, I'll finish it. I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow and launch it like Tuesday. That's my hope. Maybe it would be Wednesday. Um, but that's kind of an exciting topic. Oh yeah, the other exciting thing is the LLM SEO that I'm working on. I already have a actually really popular course of mine. This month is my second most popular course. I just launched it about LLM SEO, um, large language model SEO, how to get ChatGPT to actually promote your business instead of doing little tasks for you. So that's another thing. Um, let me. Oh, which part, Barbara? Which part was it that you wanted to hear? The cryptocurrency or the uh, making websites with AI or LLM SEO? I got confused which part, but I'm happy to talk about it. Um, but it was cool when I made ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT. Oh, Sheila has to go. Um, thanks for the encouraging words. Um, and yeah, good luck in that Fiverr course. Um, and thank you for helping me become aware that it does feel a little bit outdated. That course, I'll do my best to um, either make a note about that to the students in that course or update. Although I keep updating and it still keeps getting outdated. It's the story of my life, because I launched that course in like 2016 or 15, and then every year I had to keep updating it. And some videos I like updated like 5 times already, and they're still changing. So some of it I'm like, dreading, like I don't want to update it anymore, but I'll do my best to update it. And what was I talking about before? Course I'm launching. Oh yeah, the LLM SEO, which was really exciting because I asked AI like, who's the best instructor in like the entrepreneurship niche. I asked ChatGPT, and then I asked ChatGPT to like look at certain things online, and then a day later, I asked the same question of ChatGPT, and it like relearned everything. And then ChatGPT started promoting me, like, "Hey, you're the best instructor for these topics." And then I did it again, and from a different account, and it didn't promote me. But then I did it again from a different account, and it promoted me. Anyway, it gets exciting when AI promotes you. Dante, I see your question. Does Udemy allow AI videos and AI voice? They do, but it's complicated because I was at this Udemy conference. They had a conference with like top instructors that they invited, and somebody asked. It was like 6 months ago, and somebody asked, "Are AI made courses okay for Udemy?" And then the staff of Udemy said, "Oh yeah, totally fine, no problem." As soon as that meeting ended, the very first conversation that I had with anybody else was like, "Hey, I'm just going to get AI to create all my courses, create a fake account, and have another AI promote the courses and like do some funny, funny fishy things, and all AI based. And I don't care because I can just pump out AI courses, blah blah blah." So it became so easy to spam, right? It became like, and so a lot of people did create AI based courses, and I watched the free previews, and I'm like, wow, this is horrible. It's like made by AI, and you can tell, when you see a course is made by AI, it's kind of a huge turnoff because the voice is weird, and I'm like, it kind of feels like a little scammy. A large part of the course taking experience is better if there's like a human with it, which is weird because AI is like more effective than human in being a tutor or a one-on-one teacher at times. But when you expect a human instructor and you get an AI, it really feels weird to the student. So Udemy cracked down on it kind of, and then they're like, well, they backtracked on this. They're like, yeah, it's okay, but better not. So they said, like AI courses are kind of okay, but not really. And then they're going to scrutinize it. So there's not like they don't have a super clear policy on this at the moment. So that's an issue in Udemy. So it's possible. I did make some videos that are with AI. I don't know if you're familiar with this service, in video. They don't make videos like this. It's not a talking head video, but they make a B-roll based video. So it's like B-roll, and I could be showing something, and then uh, those videos, they actually took a while to make because those videos, they weren't that good, and so I had to keep editing them. Like I had to keep editing, and because I had to keep editing, like they weren't good from the first time, and again it took like a couple of minutes each iteration. And I thought, well, if it's taking me so many minutes for these iterations, I can just use that time to make videos by myself, because it stopped being efficient to make videos with AI, because I had to ask AI to make all those edits. And so it's like, I might as well keep making it. So that was my sort of, I pretty much, and oh, and by the way, you can get AI to have like a perfect speaking voice, but if you wanted to copy your voice, which I needed because my students already knew my voice, then it didn't do a great job copying my, because I have a weird accent. So it didn't do a great job. And so it sounded strange to people. And people didn't love that. So um, it kind of wasn't successful. That was like a year ago that I had this experiment. I'm sure it's better now. Um, I did try to make those videos with that AI service, and it is like it did look materially better. Um, but it's still like if you're going to be editing them and it's slow to make, it just, the efficiency that you would hope to win with AI just wasn't there. And so I kind of had to pause the AI created videos. So it wasn't for me. But I do see a bunch of courses that are just, it looks like purely AI made. Sounds weird, like AI a little bit, but it's there. So they haven't been taking it down. Hopefully that answers your question. But also, because they haven't been taking it down doesn't mean that they won't take it down in the future once they find it, because sometimes they just don't find it or don't realize that it's AI fast enough. And so some courses may sneak in there. But like I'm a little torn, like, because I know that I learned a lot from AI, but I actually don't need the courses as much, because most courses are not so much visual, but they're like really helpful if you can brainstorm a new topic. Like when I was researching the tokenomics of how to create my cryptocurrency, like I mentioned earlier, like technically it's easy to make your own cryptocurrency today. It's not a challenge. But what's really hard is to create the economics, the tokenomics for the cryptocurrency that help it stay viable, because you have to like look through the inflation, look through the price fluctuations, how much buying or selling will move the stock, the token price. And so you have to look at um, liquidity and all these things are like pretty difficult to wrap your mind around it. And I did it purely with AI. Like I just like kind of used AI as a brainstorming tutor, almost like a tutor slash brainstorming partner. That I think is way better than creating video based courses, because video based courses might as well have a human do it, because when a human does it today, they're going to verify with AI all the like let's say I want to talk about like 10 things, 10 mistakes for marketing, right? Let's say if I make a video 10 mistakes for marketing, as a human I might forget like what was 8 and 7 and 9, like it's hard to keep everything in my mind at once. But AI will tell me, hey, here's the top 20 and you can choose from the top 20. So today it's almost like you should not be working without AI. You should be doing courses or content, but AI is with you working together. So it's 1 + 1 = 3. But I think the more um, useful approach is to have AI be your tutor, like a one-on-one tutor. So instead of watching a course, you would just keep asking it every little confusion point that you have. Um, so um, I think so. It's a slightly different paradigm um, of courses with AI. So it's not really just making the content. It's really the type of interaction. And Udemy built this into their courses. They have this thing called role play, where students can ask questions and AI would answer based on the information inside the course, which is kind of a cool feature. I haven't really played around with it a lot just because I've been busy with other stuff, but it sounds like it's kind of the evolution of like what AI is supposed to do. Um, so that's a long answer. Um, does anyone else have anything they want to chat about? I think we are like 2 hours into the call. The first 5 minutes, I started this earlier than I posted. So I posted it. I sent an email to like my Udemy students, and I posted an email saying, "Hey, we're gonna start at 9." But because it's my first time doing YouTube Live, I thought in case I have technical challenges or difficulties, I'm gonna uh, start it 5 minutes earlier just to see if I ran into any issues. And then nobody joined in this first 5 minutes because it was before the time I suggested, and so I was just sitting there like not saying anything, not doing anything. So I wonder if people who watch the replay, if anybody watches the replay, I wonder if they'll be like, "This is weird. He's not talking for like the first 4 minutes." um, so yeah. Anyway, it's been we've been on this call for a while now. Is anybody still going strong? Tired? How's everybody doing? Let me check the uh, analytics of this call and see how we did. There was 52 people who joined this call. I just checked. That's pretty cool. Cool. Everybody's saying it was great. See you next time. Thank you. Okay, Alexander. Thanks. We can keep hanging out for like 5 more minutes if anybody has questions. But yeah, so we had 52, actually, yeah, 52 people joined, and total watch time cumulatively 8.4 hours, which was cool. So maybe I'll try to do this again on YouTube, um, maybe with a better heads up. Somebody just joined, but I feel like we're just wrapping up unless it's something urgent that they want to talk about. Um, Maybe it's a good stopping point, and I'll try to do this again soon. I kind of like the YouTube format. It's a little different, um, kind of fun. But maybe, yeah, maybe it's a good stopping point because I've been talking for a while. I hope to see everybody soon. If you are just joining from YouTube, uh, I don't know how to make you aware that this is happening other than notifications on YouTube. Um, because on Udemy people get the email notification. Um, but hopefully there are some links that I posted in the chat that give you free access to my courses. And if you're in any of my free course, if you're in any of my courses, I'll send out an email next time. So browse the chat if you just joined, and there's free courses that I offered as a thanks to people who joined this call. And hopefully then you'll be able to get the messages. Um, Another person joined, but we're wrapping up. It's sad. Um, but anyway, I'll try to do this again soon on YouTube. It was actually really fun. And Dante, it was cool to chat about the old times. Thanks for being really active participant in the chat. It made the chat, I think, definitely more fun for me. Cool. See, I'll see everybody next time. Thanks everybody. Good night. How do I end this call? I don't even know how to end the call. Oh yeah, end stream. This when you're like older and you're like, which button is that? Which button? I don't know. I can't find the button. I found the button. Okay. Good night, everyone.